Hi, everyone. This is Margaret O'Sullivan, your host of NGS Navigators, and I'm here to show you the PDF that comes along with this podcast. Fascinating interview. Hope you get a chance to listen to it. She is amazing and doing amazing work. But let's see. Coming down here, this is the activity that you can download called The Incredible Shrinking Thesis. So it was inspired by Samantha when she was talking about how she communicates her PhD research, and scientists have to communicate the research. So it's in NGSS, one of the science and engineering practices to communicate. And so I thought it would be a great way to get students to practice that practice. And so I found a really neat a resource up here, this website called sciencejournalforkids.org. And it has lots of, it has peer-reviewed science research adapted for students. So I think it's important for students to start to read journal articles because that's how scientists communicate their research and how they learn about other people's research. Now, of course, if you give students a science journal that's for adults, it's very hard to read if they don't understand the jargon. It's hard to read as an adult if you're not in that field and you don't know all the jargon. So again, this is actual science research that scientists basically rewrote for different audiences. So you can have upper high school, lower high school, middle school, elementary school. So I found one. This one is a middle school one about the flu vaccine. So I thought this might be a good one to use as an example. So it is structured just like a journal article, and it's real research. It's and it's recent, so it's constantly being updated. And so this is a good resource to go along with this activity that I have here that's in the PDF. So I'll pull up the PDF here. So you can see here. So what I would have you do is ask students to talk about how you need to communicate your research to different audience and in different time lengths, because not everybody's going to sit there and want to listen to a 3-minute presentation. You do have to know how to give a presentation that's about 3 minutes, like a poster presentation. In grammar school or elementary school, that's usually like your science fair project. You have a poster presentation. I'm not sure what the protocol is in high school, but definitely if you're majoring in college, you do poster presentations, and also your PhD research poster presentations. When you go to conferences, poster presentations. So yeah, that is important. So how do you take your data and be able to communicate that in about 3 minutes? And so if you look here, what students can do is take that journal article, and you can work in groups or however you want to divide them up. And if they can summarize the data in each part of that journal article in about 3 to 5 sentences, that'll get you about a 3-minute poster presentation, give or take, 30 seconds here or there, depending on how fast they speak. But that'll get you about a 3-minute poster presentation. Then you might want to talk about, okay, yeah, but sometimes you got to take that information and be able to explain it in a 1-minute. I call it a dinner conversation. Who might that be for? Your friend, maybe another student, an interested relative, someone who's going to give you about a minute to listen to what you have to say before the eyes glaze over and you lost them. So how might you do that in 1 minute? So take that same article and now summarize it in about 2 to 3 sentences per section. And that'll give you about 1 minute. Again, give or take. It's not perfect science. And then you got your elevator pitch. So you can explain what an elevator pitch is. You got 30 seconds. Who might be that audience? Well, that could be, like scientists who get interviewed by TV reporters, your social media audience, maybe a YouTube video that you create, a Twitter video, a new person you just meet, a hallway conversation. You've got 30 seconds to hook that person, or at least be able to communicate your research. So what does that look like is I timed it maybe about a minute, or sorry, not a minute, 1 sentence for each part of the article. So you can have students, of course, adapt this in any way that you feel would be more helpful with your classroom. But it gives you an idea to get started on how you can take your thesis or your research and summarize it. It's a great activity for nonfiction reading. So there's a lot of Common Core English language arts in that, as well as next generation science standards science and engineering practices in there. If you notice, they're going to be analyzing data, interpreting data. But really important, from all the scientists that I've interviewed so far for the podcast, I would say 99% of them have mentioned how important it is to be able to clearly and concisely communicate your information to various audience. Some people who are in your field, but also the people who are not in your field. So it's a good strategy to start practicing early. I also want you to take a look at this resource that I found on Twitter. And get on Twitter if you're not on Twitter. Great resource. Follow me on Twitter, see who I follow, and follow them too. You'll get a lot of SciComm on there. In fact, that's a good hashtag to look at. Hashtag SciComm, hashtag actual living scientists, another great one to follow. I should put that in here as a resource. But anyways, this book, SciComm Challenge, there was a challenge out on Twitter for science researchers to communicate their research in less than 200 words. That'll be in chapter 1 of this book. But also chapter 2 has scientists who summarize their research in one tweet. So that might be a good resource to share with your students as well. How do you take that? What a challenge to be able to take your research and summarize it that quickly. And what a valuable resource for us who are not in the science research world to see what's going on out there. It's a fascinating world out in the science research world. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Please always share your comments with us. Oh yeah, join our Facebook page, and as soon as we get 50 followers or 50 people in our group, we'll start doing the monthly giveaways. We hope to start one January 31st, 2019. And this is going to be one of the things that we'll be giving away, this book, the SciComm Challenge book. So join our Facebook group, comment on the post. The more episodes you comment on, each episode you comment on, you get your name into the drawing. If you like our page and share it, your name gets put into the drawing 2 times. Woohoo! So go ahead and do that. We'd love to see you and start sharing our NGSS resources. You can always contact me at, obviously on this page, through Contact Us. You can contact us through podcast@ngsnavigators.com. I'd love to hear from you. We want to meet your professional development needs of NGSS or the framework. So let us know what you need. And that's it for now. I'll stop sharing the screen.